Day started right. From our shack to yours, this is Coffee and Ham Radios. We are live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right.
Hi, everybody. We have a show for you today. We're going to talk about being off-grid, being a ham, and being out in the desert for Quartzfest. Because Quartzfest is coming up not 2 days from now, Monday, but the Monday after that at Quartzfest. And Chuck and I are both going to be there. And we've got a couple of friends that are already out there. Sunday. What is Sunday? The 20.
Sunday.
The 21st,
I think.
Yeah.
That's the official. That's when everybody starts getting there.
And Chuck, you've been there before. This will be my first year going there, so we're going to pick your brain a little bit, and then
this will be my
depending on
third, fourth,
off-gridded niche of things, we might actually have a special guest speaker from Quartzfest.
Mm-hmm.
Is he? Did we get his contract writer complete? Because he had some weird things on there. I mean, what's he going to do with all them goats?
There is. It took a while. I mean, I guess he's going to give them to Rob when he's done. But I mean, out there, that's good trading material. Feed everybody in the desert.
Right. So Quartzfest, my opinion is, and I've never been to Quartzfest, but it seems like it's a little bit ham fest and a little bit camping. And
it's when you go to a ham fest and they have those the rooms that have the classes, Yeah. It's more like that. It's more that part of it. It's not really, there's not vendors.
Really?
we would probably be the biggest vendor there if I took antenna kits and stuff like that.
At Quartzfest itself, not at Quartz site.
Yes. Yeah, this is Quartzfest. They have their own little area out there. It's actually on the map.
Is the thing, weird. Right? Quartz site is the town. Is that correct?
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
And so it's more classes than anything else. Like Javi has given classes on doing soda and stuff like that, and I've helped him with that. And then he's done he takes people out on a soda on a activation and helps them, especially if they're new people, helping them, show them how to set up for a summits on the air. And then there's just all kinds. There was like communications, like APRS class one time. I went into that one. They used to have the big tents, but since COVID, they really haven't done the tents. Everything's kind of outside around a campfire. So, but it's more camping and classes than it is vendors.
So is there? I would assume there's a lot of tailgate swap kind of deal though too.
The last day they have a swap meet, and I've only made it to last year. And Jason actually bought a nice little $897, I think it was, Yaesu. And there was a lot of things. There's some guys that made different kinds of little antennas and stuff out there. One guy copies the elk antenna and sells it out there.
So if we had the Chucky Hex or the Car Vertical ready to go, we could be the largest vendor. We could occupy a corner booth at Quartzfest.
Actually, that guy with the that makes all the little metal antennas, he's got a pretty good size thing, and then the rest of it's just like flea market stuff. Somebody has their radio on, or their YouTube.
We're echoing.
Morning, Vern. How are you doing?
Howdy, Vern.
I was a touch and go there for a minute. Had to flip on the inverter and go back to the Starlink regular 110 router. I have been running off a 12 volt directly to the battery, but for whatever reason, that setup just decided to leave me hanging today. So I had to flip on the inverter, and so now I'm running off the AC powered router that comes with Starlink. So anyhow, good morning.
I got to ask right now because it's driving me crazy since you popped in here. Is that a green screen or is that the inside of your camping facility for real?
That's the inside of my camper.
Real.
That's your camper?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, see all that here? Yeah. Okay.
It's all real.
That is
real.
I thought for sure. Look at him.
Vern's going to make us breakfast this morning.
Yeah.
And y'all, if you've never met Vern, he's kind of tall.
6'5".
That is beautiful, man.
Thank you. Yeah, it's 41 feet long, and it's well, including the tongue. I guess it's the chassis is actually 37 past the triangle part of the tongue, so 41 feet that I got to account for when I'm towing and what have you, but 37 inside.
And you got a
So
long
it's a
truck
tow?
too.
I do have a long truck. Yep.
So it's a
Yeah,
tow trailer?
Yeah.
Like tongue
bumper
mount?
Bumper pull.
Tongue mount?
Yeah, bumper pull. Yeah. It's got a
All right.
king size. It's got a actual king size bed up front, and then it's got a queen size fold out that's over here, and that's about it. But the problem with this trailer is that it just doesn't have much storage. It's dedicated so much to water storage that there's not a lot for stuff storage. I mean, it's actually, in the washer and dryer cabinet up front. I actually use that for my batteries now because that was the only place I had that was warm, and that was the only place that we could really put anything. So it was it's kind of a pain. The only storage really is behind the TV. That TV over here folds out, and there's a couple shelves back there behind it, and then on the outside there's a big open cavity. But that's about it. And it's not much storage. There's not like in most camper. There's a like an underbelly, if you will, where you can kind of slide from one door to the other across the width of the cabin. The camper. You can't do that in here. I carry 160 gallons of fresh water, 60 gallons of black water, and about 80 gallons of gray water. So it's got some pretty good sized tanks underneath it.
Yeah, all three tanks combined, you're pushing close to like 3,000 pounds of just water weight, right?
Water weight.
Yeah, if I wanted to, yeah. Yeah, in fact, when it was coming out here, the wind was so bad coming through New Mexico. It was like 55-mile-an-hour gusts. And so I had 160 gallons of water on because I knew there wasn't water out here, really, not convenient water out here in Quartzsite. And so I made the mistake of carrying that. Well, I was looking at how the architectural diagram is and how the pattern of where the tank is. Now, it has multiple baffles in it, but I was still carrying at least 1,500, maybe 2,000 pounds south of my axles, in the rear of my axles.
Yeah.
And so I was getting a little swaying action in that, and so that was making me pucker. So
the ocean was causing emotion there, man.
Oh my God.
Well,
so I got a super chat from Brian Hendricks. Brian, he says he finally got the chameleon coil working with the G90 and learned a new country. So he got the Slovak Republic on a G90 with a coil antenna. Congratulations,
That's
Brian.
Outstanding. Nice. Way to go, Brian. Thank you for the super chat.
Thanks, Brian. I'm going to have to camp somewhere near Vern's and find out where his water outlet on the outside is, because I take about 10 gallons of water with me out there. So
yeah, there's water. I'm in the LTVA. I'm in the La Posa South. Oh, I'm actually here in the La Posa South. I'm about 1.5 miles from where all the guys are gathering up over there for Quartzfest right now. I went down there yesterday, but this is kind of it was a little easier for me. I went ahead and bought the season pass. And so I got the dumping facilities and the fresh water and what have you. So it just made it a little easier for what I needed to do since I was going to be here for almost a month.
Right. Has it been windy yet?
Oh my God. Yeah, it's yeah, Chuck. It's I think they live with it. And I didn't realize a joke there. My wife just texted me. She goes, "Don't be dumb. He's making a joke about the water." I couldn't. I could only hear there's a bit of a delay on the feed. Sorry.
No, yeah, I only take my my box trailer, which is kind of like a toy hauler. I've got it. I've got a bed set up, and I've got a small little shower in there that I've kind of built. So I do the quick showers. I take 10 or 20 gallons of water with me, but I can like you said, there's a place you can fill up that's near, But I'm camping.
Turn water on, get wet. Turn water off, soap up. Turn water on, rinse off. Turn water off, get out.
Right.
My little water heater is kind of weird because you have to leave it running because it doesn't turn on and off. I thought it did. So what I do is I run it into a bucket and it just heats the water as I'm not using it, but I save the water that way.
In the shower, we have a full-size shower in this camper, and one of the things that it has the nozzle where the valves are for the controlling the water temperature it has kind of like this little plastic deal that turns from blue to like a white, and to let you know that when the water's hot. So you switch the valve, basically it recycles, and so the pump comes through until you get hot water at the valves. Then you can flip it over, and that way you know that you've got hot water, and you're not going to sit there and just get chilled for.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Otherwise you waste water, and when you're dry camping, you can't afford to waste water. That's not
exactly. And this is what I'm saying. This whole thing is really designed, quote, to be off grid. As Steve can attest, it didn't have nearly enough solar, but it definitely had a. Let me shut off my alerts here. I'm sorry if y'all heard that noise. But it's designed for it in every other way. It's got the 4-season underbelly, and it's got all those little nice things like that. So you're not wasting any water. It just basically just recycles it back to the freshwater holding tank. So you're just waiting on the only thing you're running is the 12 volt to bring the hot water to you, and then of course you can get in, and then I replaced the shower head, so I get a reduced usage water shower head as well. So that makes it kind of nice.
That's good. Yeah,
I've got to talk about the yacht club that's out there, Vern.
The yacht club.
The yacht club's a great time. I mean, I was there last night. Holy hell, that was great! Great live music, everything. It was a lot of fun. If you're on my Facebook, I posted tons of videos about it.
Nice.
Yeah, yacht club's pretty cool. And in fact, if you join the yacht club, you get access to like a whole litany of like 30 or 40 yacht clubs across the country. I mean, like real yacht clubs. This is just a bar and restaurant, but yeah, it's kind of nice.
Are people bringing their RVs, or are they bringing boats and camping in boats at the yacht club?
No, they've got 3 boats at the yacht club, but I think they're just for for the look. But yeah, it's a great little place. It's the menu's not big, but they got great wings, and you know how I like wings.
Yeah, so. You do.
You are a wingman. That's right.
I am, baby. That's it.
That's a lot of water. My motorhome carries 100 gallons of water, and I don't usually take it out there. It's just usually just me and my wife. If my wife went, I'd definitely have the motorhome. But
my wife's coming next year. Yeah, Renee's coming next year.
She was in the chat earlier. She may still be here, so make sure you behave.
She was earlier.
She's probably watching.
I know, right? She's giving me points over here in our private chat. She's like, "Okay, sit up straight. Talk clear. Slow down. Listen to Chuck's jokes."
Chuck's got to be careful what he says, because Kathy watches our streams all the time too, and she'll pop in that chat. And
man, she was popular yesterday or Thursday night.
Well, she's always popular.
She popped in there, and it's like every once in a while I let something slip that she might not need to know about.
Right.
About that new flex you bought.
I have a friend, by the way, not in the chat there, Brenda. Her and her husband came out, and we had dinner and everything at the yacht club, so it was great.
I've never been there. Never heard of it, actually. We you know what? Javi and I don't get away from camp other than sodas on the motorcycles or something,
Well, there's so much more going on here, though, Chuck. I mean, this entire month of January has so many other shows that are, that are actually in town that have so much more going on than just Quartzfest. And Quartzfest really is quite a ways away from town. It's about 6 miles from town. And there's the Rock and Gym show. Today is Camelpalooza. I don't know how many people really know Quartzfest history, but there was a guy back in the day. His name was High Jolly, and he basically brought camels to this area. And it was a developer. And so there's Camel Fest every year. Today's the big camel parade in downtown Quartzfest, Quartzsite, rather. And so there's a lot of other things going on. There's a big sale that was happening. I think it's next week. This weekend is the Rubber Tramp Rendezvous, which is a bunch of off-grid folks, Bob Wells, and that whole association. It's called HOWA. I think is what he calls his organization, HOWA.org. They have
usually retirees.
No, not at all.
No, okay.
It's in fact, it's I would say you're gonna have a lot of retirees, but you're gonna have a lot of other folks too, just van life sort of folks that are doing things that are living in their van off grid all the time. And it's kind of the Rubber Tramp Rendezvous is kind of to teach them how to do it and to give them some pointers and and what have you. One of the things I really like about the Rubber Tramp Rendezvous is they have a free space where you basically you just a free pile, they call it. If you got something in your camper you don't want, you can go take it and put it on the free pile and take what you want. And it's a neat little thing. And there's a great movie about it called Nomadland that in fact my friend Brenda, who her husband were in that movie. She's in the chat right now, and so there's a lot of other things that are happening here. Of course, the big RV show, the big tent is nearly it's like 3 football fields long. I think I heard someone say, and so it's interesting. One of the things out here for sure, I would say, if you're gonna camp out here, if you got a pet, make sure you keep it in because coyotes are not scared of humans. They walked right. This morning we saw several walk right up here in the camp. So,
how's the hunting?
But other than that, that's the only negative I found.
Coyotes yet?
Yeah, man, I don't think they'll appreciate that too much here, but yeah. But it's a great time. It was there's a lot of stuff going on here. Man, I'm all about it. Doesn't matter to me.
Eat. Coyote
Exactly.
jerky.
Coyote jerky, coyote stir fry, coyote barbecue, coyote ribs.
There's about a million ways you can eat coyote.
That's right. Coyote scampi, fried coyote.
Yep.
We have them here too. I didn't realize that when I moved here. I came here from overseas when I was in the military. There are coyotes all over Alabama too. I thought they were all out west.
I thought they were too, but this is crazy. They're not scared of anything.
No, they're not.
Don's asking how the 2A is out there. Arizona is actually a pretty interesting state. If you're in the state of Arizona, they are very, very friendly with that kind of thing. But they're being infiltrated from the west, so that might change.
I was stationed in Phoenix in the 80s, and they had open carry in the 80s back then in Arizona. I assume they still do. I don't know, but
They do.
I don't know what the laws are currently, but it used to be that if you were a Arizona resident living in the state of Arizona, physically in the state of Arizona, you could conceal carry without a permit.
Yeah, I don't know about
which
that.
is
I
not
never
normal.
did, but, right.
And then we
I was at a motorcycle dealership the
asking
first time, and
about
some dude walks in with a 6-gun
he just
rig
shot
on
a
his
coyote.
leg.
Can he really eat it? And
You can eat it.
Happy Ham, if you're brave enough, you can eat anything.
Yeah.
You can eat it. Should you eat it? I don't know.
The one thing that's different here, right? I do know about the laws here, and as far as the Second Amendment and everything, is that if you see somebody stealing something, you can't drop them like you can in Texas. It's kind of frowned upon here. I mean, Texas is frowned upon too, but you can kind of the stand your ground law here is different than the castle doctrine in Texas. So there are some significant differences. There's no such thing as a gun-free zone when Vern's there. I don't care where it's at. And so there are a couple signs that they're unique here. Like in Texas, for instance, RFR signs that for no carrying all have to be uniform and the same size lettering and all the rest of stuff. Here it's like they just put a paper sign on the door that they wrote with a magic marker and says, no guns allowed, and you're pretty much required to abide by it. So there are some things to be careful for. Just keep your eyes open. But I don't know if that answered this question or not. But I certainly don't know all the laws, but I don't really feel like I need to know too much because the only time anybody's going to know I'm carrying, well, I guess I know now, but if is when something goes wrong, and at that point I'll settle it later.
Yep. So let's talk about your solar system. We were talking about solar on Thursday night's show, but we just did a solar install on yours and got you some nice batteries and everything. How's that working?
Yeah, it was really cool. It's amazing, really. Where I'm parked, I have to have the additional 300 watt panel on the ground. I have the Dokio 300.
Show that one.
I like that. I had to buy a different controller. I have a Renogy controller on that now. And so it basically plugs into the side of the trailer to give me 300 watts. But I have to move the panels, because the sun's kind of still to our south, really, and it's never comes directly overhead because of the way the time of year and everything. It's kind of I don't know if that makes any sense, but it's all in the southern spectrum. So low on the horizon. I couldn't think of the right words. Yeah, low on the horizon.
Overhead right now is not great.
Right. And so the I have to move those panels that are on the ground, around about 11:30 in the morning. I move them so I continue to get the most amperage out of them. Up on the top, the trailer came with a 190 watt Renogy panel, and it's a flat mount. And as you know, Tio, we didn't want to change the mounts on that, and so the that one stays flat all the time. And then the two that you and I installed are the two Renogy, the one that you gave me, and the one that's the newer one that I bought. I've got them on the back side of the trailer, and they're kind of tilted up. And so right now, I'm getting about 8 amps out of those, and I'm getting about 13 amps out of the ones that are out on the ground. So right now, I'm putting in about 21 amps into my solar system at the moment. Overnight, it was kind of chilly. My heater ran most of the night. I drew it down to about 80% from a full charge, and so what's 80% of 400? What is that? 320 amps. Yeah. So I've got 80. I got another 80 amps to replace. So at 20 amps, it'll take me about 4 hours to recharge. And all of those are measurements that are based off of the fact that I'm now running the inverter, and it's charging my laptop and the external screen, and it's running the Starlink internet, and my heater just kicked on. So it's
and you're running a 12-volt fridge too, right?
Oh yeah, that's right. I'm sorry. I am. It's a 12-volt high-efficiency fridge. At rest, it's about 2 amps. When the compressor kicks in, it's about 9 amps. And so, it's but it's strictly 12-volt. There is no propane system to it whatsoever. A lot of folks can, in a lot of campers will have a propane or AC, alternating current, shore power, or whatever you want to call it, can run their refrigerator. Mine didn't have that option. Mine always runs off a 12-volt, so it runs through the inverter converter charger thing up front, and it works really well.
So it is actually 12 volt though,
and 120 volts only, and then Vern's is 12 volts only.
Yeah, mine is 12 volts only. Yes, Chuck, it is completely 100% 12 volts only.
Well, that's good. It doesn't run off of your inverter, because that's wasteful.
Well, it's not running off my inverter. It's running off. It's running off the bus bar where everything connects. I'm sorry, to be more accurate, it's running off the bus bar where everything connects up there. So, but it's my bus bar is actually physically a part of the model of inverter that I have. So I misspoke. It is running directly off the batteries.
No, I think you said it right. I was just saying that it's good that it doesn't run off the inverter, because when you run the inverter, you run power to run the inverter, then the power that it's generating too. So that's kind of double tapping your batteries there.
Yeah, and I figured out when I run the inverter, it's about a 12% loss. So in other words, if I need to get 10 volts off of the 10 amps to run something, then I noticed that my measurements were I think it was 12%. It was that I was actually over what I needed because of the loss in the inverter process.
And so you have a couple of questions. Go ahead, Chuck.
I was just going to say, you have 200 watts on. How much you have on the roof? 400.
I have 390 on the roof. I have 200 that are I have 200 that are tilted, 190 that's flat, and then I have 300 on the ground. So it's 690 total.
So you're good. You should be pretty good there. And how many batteries?
I have two 200 amp hour. I'm sorry, two 200 amp hour BioEnnos that was Mike and Kevin had given me for Christmas.
Okay, that's great.
Before that, I only had a couple of AGM batteries, and I was going to have to make a change. But Santa came the day after Christmas, and it was a lot of fun.
Nice.
So.
Santa Mikey. So the question for Chuck here is, any suggestions on converting a cargo trailer? And Chuck has done this, and so has our friend Bill, Ham Radio Tectonics YouTube channel. You can find that out. Well, go ahead, Chuck.
I bought my trailer, and I had it pre-made. And when it's actually a company called TPD Trailers out of Sacramento. They make basically car trailers. It's a little on the heavy side, but it's built better than any travel trailer because it's all steel framed. You won't break this thing. And then it has like plywood with like, I just call it for a better term, fiberglass on both sides of it, so it's sealed. And I had them build I had them build a countertop in the front with cabinets over the top, and then I had them build like a bathroom area, and I'm slowly redoing the bathroom area. I've got it set up with a shower now, a little porta potty with a little cassette thing, And those cassette things, you got to be careful with those when you move that porta potty around. Believe me. And in the back, I did a fold down bed, and think about if you're going to put a bed in it, think about what you really need. I made it a queen size originally because I thought my wife might go with me, but she's like, no, I'm probably not going to go with you in that trailer. We're going to take the motor home. And I understand that. So I actually cut mine down. I wouldn't go, if you can get by with a large twin, do that because it takes up a lot of space when you fold them down. Mine just folds off the side of the wall. And then I have a setup where I have a setup for my Harley and then 3 dirt bikes, but not all 3 dirt bikes or the Harley. It's usually what it carries because I don't usually put anything else in there with the Harley just because of scratching it, which I'm going to get rid of. I'm going to sell that and buy more of an adventure bike. But
Talk to Chuck. His Harley's for sale.
I could, I have a couple quads. I've taken like a couple quads and a couple motorcycles in there. Mine's 16 foot. Really think about your size if you're going to build one. How much room you really need. Mine's 8.5 feet wide. It's fairly heavy. I think Jason was there last year, and I told him, that trailer's probably heavier than your travel trailer, just because of the way it's made. You don't, for something, if you're going to build it, and you don't, I have a ramp door in the back, so I can roll my stuff up in. If you don't need that, don't pay the extra for that. Sometimes doors are better. I like the ramp because it's just easy to load. Then you have to insulate, which I did. I put the studs in mine are, I think, 1.5 by 1.5 metal. So I did 1.5 solid foam with the reflective.
The pink stuff?
Not the pink stuff, the white stuff. It's like regular styrofoam, but it has like a reflective thing outside that I put out. The only bad thing about it is it's got all this writing. I'd almost leave it like that, except it has all this writing over it. My wife walks inside and she's like, oh my God, I'm going to get dizzy in here. I just haven't. When I started building it was just prior to COVID, and wood prices just skyrocketed. Plywood that we were buying this big, thick plywood for the floors of the yurts, and they were like $60 a sheet. They were $110 a sheet during COVID stuff, and now they're finally getting back. So
yeah. Plywood's ridiculously expensive.
Yeah.
Another question for you, Chuck. How many amp hours would you say you used for radio operations in your week?
For radio, one night I ran my amp when I was down there, and I was watching my voltage on my batteries, and I was running about 200 watts and into my Moxon, I think. And I had a huge pileup, and I used quite a few amp hours that day, I think. And I had finally basically told people I'm going to shut down. I'm running my batteries off. I didn't bring another battery for that reason for that time. And I don't know. I had, like last year, I didn't do that. I had a 200 watt panel set up. I think it was 200 watt. And an 80 watt panel. And what I did with that, charged my batteries, which I find out that I was charging my batteries in my truck and my motor, my trailer too, because it was connected. I didn't think it was. One time I must have connected the thing and it didn't make a connection. It didn't show that it was charging my trailer batteries, which I was surprised it didn't, which it does. And so I was charging up 4 batteries on the 200 amp and pretty much charging it full each day.
Yeah.
So maybe 20 amp hours a day. What did Vern? Where did you say you're using 80? So, but Vern's running way more stuff than I was running. I have 2 LED lights in my trailer, and that's the only lights that I have. So, I ran a little small TV.
Everything in here is LED. I've got a 50-inch TV over here, but
they do draw.
And when I run, it is a huge draw. Yeah, it's a big draw. But I'm curious to back up real quick, Chuck, about your installation. Did you say you used the foam boards, or did you actually use spray and foam?
No, it's boards. I just cut them down. I cut them really tight, and what I did is, you guys know what Tyvek is? It's the stuff they put on the outside of walls now.
House wrap. Yeah.
So they have a Tyvek tape, and I just taped everything into the studs because they're nice. They're painted smooth. You know, everything in my trailer was white and still is outside of the writing on the foam. So my two lights do a pretty good job of lighting the whole trailer up because it reflects. I am going to add. I think I will add a couple more lights just because. So I can. I'll be able to.
I'm sorry. I did a similar build on a houseboat in England with a friend, and we used those boards. And it was kind of interesting to me that those boards are so low R value. You know, I just could not imagine that they were, very warm in a climate where you're at. I mean, do you use it in cold weather, or is it?
I've used it in like 30, 40 degree weather, and with my little diesel heater, it's too hot in there.
Oh yeah, diesel heater's nice. Yeah, okay.
I'm thinking about changing my motorhome to some type of a diesel heater that I can hook up because the biggest draw on a travel trailer or a motorhome is that heater if it's cold.
Absolutely.
On your batteries. They draw a lot. Those heaters, I mean, the one on my motorhome is basically a house unit. It's, you know how most air conditionings are mounted on the roof and stuff? Mine's all mounted in a compartment down below like a house unit. And when it's super, super hot, it'll out-cool most of the overhead ones. Yeah. But it's got a big fan. That fan draws a lot.
Right now I'm pulling 27 amps. So,
that's good.
I mean, I'm putting into it 27 amps. I'm sorry, I'm putting
barely,
in 27 amps.
And the sun's barely up, right?
Yeah.
That's good.
So I'm sitting there looking at the draw. It went down. It was like 30 amps, but it went down from the when the heater kicked in. So call it probably 10 amps or even sometimes more for that heater fan in here. And that's probably the single biggest thing. Well, I mean, it's the only thing that's running at night, really. And so, yeah, the diesel heater is definitely the way to go. I mean, we had one at one time just for like tent camping and stuff. And it was one of these little cheapos that we got, from like Banggood or someplace like that. And but the one when they've got the nice ones, they're really, really efficient. I mean, it's amazing.
I went away for a weekend and I actually hooked mine to a little small like 3-gallon outboard motor tank.
Yeah.
And for a weekend I burned an inch of fuel, and it was like 35 to 40 degrees every night. And what I would do is I would start my generator. I always bring a generator. I don't trust just solar.
Yeah.
And I will start my diesel heater on that because the startup is the highest draw on the batteries when the glow plug's working. Then after that, it's like really, really low. I forget the actual amperage. But the fan runs all the time. You can't. It'll take say you're set on 3 or 4 on the fan speed, and when it gets to temperature, it'll drop it down to 1, and then bring it back up if it needs to. But it won't shut off like a regular thermostat. At least the one I have won't. And I like to find some place that has it. I think it's because you have to reheat that glow plug each time is why it doesn't do it.
Huh. I don't know. Ours shut off. I don't know. Huh.
So back to Liberty's question.
The more expensive ones may have that.
About the how much radio per amp hour you can use. So let's take this IQ G90 for example. It says that it'll do 20 watts output and it'll take 8 amps input in order to do that. And when you're talking SSB, you're number one, you're going to be talking 50% of the time and listening 50% of the time is one part of it. But when you're talking, you're not putting full power into your microphone because some words are very high, some words are very low when you speak, and so. Maybe you're going to do 4 amps, maybe you're going to do 8 amps. So you can kind of figure that in. So let's work with 6 amps as a number, 6 amps per hour out of a 100 amp hour battery. We don't math on stream, but a 100 amp hour battery will last you a long time at 6 amps, 50% of the time consumption.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, if you go back to like playing POTA, I take the 891, and if I go out to a park and play for 4 hours, my 20 amp hour Bioenno battery comes home with plenty of juice left. I mean, I do 2 outings, so
right.
And then if
you're doing FT8, that's a different thing. Yeah. FT8 will run more battery. And I don't do much
solar.
FT8.
It's going to be almost impossible to use your batteries up when you're out doing remote operations on battery power. Now, for a 100 amp hour rig, most of those are rated at 20 to 25 amps consumption. And again, it's the same kind of math. You're not going to be putting all the fire in the wire from your voice. So you can kind of discount that a little bit. And you're also not going to be talking 100% of the time. So, 50% right off the top and then another 25% off of that. So 25 amp hours, 25 amps per hour at 25% utilization.
So he's wondering how many hours people do. It varies. I don't do a ton of radio while I'm there. I go out to do radio, like sodas and stuff like that. There's not very many sodas that you can actually do there. I mean, you can. There's a lot of sodas around there, but none of them are activated, so that gives you a good indication that they're not easy to get to. Because there's guys they're Mountain Dew guys that would be doing those if they were able to do. Now I don't know about POTA there. I haven't checked POTA there, but like they have a station at Quartzfest. Those guys run most of the day. I don't know. They're probably running off of a lot of solar or generator at times, or recharging with generators, and it still takes a long time to recharge.
Yep.
When we talked to Hayden last year, we had some wicked noise. I don't know what it was coming from. Some guy told me he was in the Navy or something, and they said that the wind blowing past fiberglass motorhomes creates noise, static electricity type stuff. And we were seeing something like that. And I asked Jason, I go, hey, can you turn your generator off? Because he had a generator that it wasn't super loud, but it wasn't like one of the super quiet ones. And he turned it off, and it wasn't his generator.
We also have a lot of other hams out there operating too.
Yeah, you will all of a sudden. I made a 6-meter contact. Oh, this is awesome, man. I make a 6-meter. And the guy goes, where are you at? I'm in Quartzfest. He goes, yeah, I'm just down the road.
Yeah, me too.
So it wasn't much of a contact. 6-meter, and that's really not the time for 6. So I used to just take my hex beam and throw it up.
There are several parks in the air parks near here. The closest one is Kilo 0177. Which is just right down the road a little bit. But there are several others. They're over by the lake, Martinez Lake, a couple others. But they're down, closer to Yuma, so about an hour south.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I went down there to go through the proving grounds just to go tour it, which was kind of neat. But most of them are down in that area. So it's about an hour south. So the only one that's here within 10 minutes of Quartzfest is just that Kilo 0177.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we got a question from KE8YYM. KE8YYM says, which of our antennas would be best for the G90? All of them is the short answer for that. We have an end-fed half-wave, which would be resonant, and we have a 9-to-1, which the tuner in the G90 will happily tune on just about any band that you want. And then we have the link dipole that you make resonant for whichever band you want. And then you can use the tuner and kind of touch it up a little bit on other bands.
So the most efficient antenna would be the link dipole, as far as that would probably be your best signals. But they're all like Tio said, they all work with that radio, no problem.
And you can go to coffeeandhamradios.com.
In fact, all of them will work with any radio, actually. I mean,
yeah, you just might need a tuner if your radio doesn't have a strong enough internal tuner. And the G90's internal tuner is fantastic.
Yeah, I could tune everything on our 9-to-1.
Yeah.
The Aries. I could tune everything on my internal tuner. Usually.
And then
ground does make a difference sometimes, where you're at.
This question's for Chuck and Vern both. What's the biggest surprise you've come across? Things that make you say, damn, I should have thought about bringing that, but it totally escaped me.
Oh, I got a good one for that. Water bladder. Yeah, I thought that was really cool. I brought a sprayer tank. I did a little short on it. The sprayer tank that we use, typically, we use these sort of things in the back of our gator to do, spraying the fence line at the ranch and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But it comes from Tractor Supply. Got a little, 3 gallon per minute motor on it, and whole 9 yards. You open the valve and the water pump. So I thought it was great, but it's hard plastic. It's 25 gallons, and it's it'll run a battery down pretty quick. But at any rate, it's I get out here, and some of these guys showed me a balloon sort of bladder that rolls up. It's 100 gallons of water. It fits in the size of a briefcase, basically, when it's not being used. and then they hook up their motor to it, and they pump with a 1-inch hose, and takes them about four minutes. It takes me about, out of that 25 gallon, it took me about 10 minutes. So they're only running their pump for just a little bit of time. So yeah, I'm going to be making a purchase for that. That's probably the one thing that would have really made life here a little easier.
Awesome.
You know what? I have a bladder like that for my ski boat for weighing it down. Never even thought about that. It holds probably at least 100 gallons. They have an off-road thing where they take a bunch of people out, and I don't know if the guy that usually does it is doing it this year. I think he's helping somebody else do it. He's kind of turning over the reins, and I'd really like to go do that. One of these days I'd love to bring my 4Runner out there, and that was going to be maybe my plan. But I mean, this year I can legally do it because I have a street legal bike. So if Kavi and I want to do that, we can actually do it on the motorcycles, and then. But the trail is, I mean, I could have taken my Dodge out there because they got people that they say that you should have 4-wheel drive, but it's not, you don't have to, but they prefer that. And then they want everybody with radios. But I went out, I saw all these people. When I did a SOTA, I rode my motorcycle pretty much almost to the top, and when I came down, I was way ahead of everybody that was walking. So I saw all these people over just across from where we came out, and there's a prehistoric, like, Indian foot in the is a print of someone's foot, supposedly an Indian that lived in that area back, centuries ago. And these guys were looking for it, and we found it. That was kind of cool. So, but as far as bringing stuff. More water sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, as hams, we tend to overpack anyway, right, Jim?
Oh,
I
Lord,
do.
yes. Yeah.
I usually take too many radios.
Every time Huntsville and Dayton wasn't as bad, but Huntsville, because I'm going to be in the cabin and not in a hotel room, and it's a mobile lab.
Yeah.
Why did I bring all this crap?
Didn't you bring your scope or something one time?
The first year I brought spectrum analyzer. Yeah, T.O. and I sat out at a table and tested the QRZ1 Explorer radio.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I got there like 5 minutes. He's like, we got to do a video. We got this radio.
Do it now.
I'm like, hi, nice to meet you, crazy sumbitch.
Yeah. I'd say one of the things you have to be really careful about, if you have awnings on your trailer and you put them out, do not just leave them out and leave, because it may not be there when you come back.
Exactly.
The wind comes up, and it can be really, like last year was really windy, more days than like previous years I've been there. And, usually we get one bad windy night. In fact, Javi's like, I'm cooking inside this year. He goes, I'm not even going to cook outside. But I don't have I can cook inside if I want to, I guess.
Ed is right.
But
Ed is right.
Yeah.
My wife goes to hang out with her friend who lives up at the lake. It's like an hour away. And she's got this, she's gone for 2 nights. And she's got this giant suitcase. I'm like,
that's funny. I mean, I guess because my wife is a ham, it's just the opposite. I'm the one who overpacks. I mean, I bring my own pillows and all the rest of that stuff, and wherever we go, even if we stay at a hotel, my wife's like, with a carry-on size bag. I'm the overpacker in our family.
That's me. Hers is clothes. Mine is actual useful things, like spectrum
I usually take multiple radios
and meters.
I usually take
batteries.
I usually take a lot of radios out to the Quartzsite, and I'm going to try and keep it down this year. Although
just one.
I'm going to take 2 for sure, because I'm going to take my my KX2 for the SOTA stuff. I'm not going to carry a 710 out there. But tell you the truth, you could just take your handy talkie, and because there's so many hams in camp, you can activate with that.
Frank is definitely OCD. Thanks for the super chat, Frank.
Thanks, Frank.
Frank's using his monthly membership benefit of his free once per month super chat. Y'all can
right, JB? That's right. I want my stuff. I need my stuff.
Right.
Yeah, I brought pretty much an entire lab. I mean, I brought all the solar crimpers and connectors, including the big hydraulic ones for putting on the connectors on the end of 4-gauge wire. or even the big 3/4 inch wires. I brought everything because I didn't know what I was going to get into. I was like, surely something's going to break in this new system, and sure enough, it did. I had to end up putting making a series of new cables for the solar panels that are on the ground, and that was kind of it was a simple process, but I mean, I had to bring on. So I got an ammo can full of power pole connectors and crimpers, and that's funny. My wife would say that. Can you eat some gritty food? Yeah.
Well, what I want to know right now,
right
now, Vern 6 is, were you cooking and she thought there was gritty food, or she thinks her own cooking has got gritty food?
No, she's saying if you cook
it's a trap. It's a trap.
If you cook outside,
I think it's a Vern trap on that one.
Exactly.
Let's just say every time I cooked on I've got one of those Blackstones, and every time I cooked it, I had to clean it off, even though it was covered. I had to clean the dust off it before I could cook. So
I left.
But it was really windy.
We have one that connects on the side of the trailer, and because it uses the bottled propane from up front.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's handy, but out here there's not a chance. Everything here is just full of dust, which just kills me because Tio will tell you my truck is never dirty, and
the dust,
the dust here is unreal. I mean, really, it's profound. And the dust storms are not quite as bad as I thought they were going to be, but dust everywhere all the time.
Yep, and it'll be inside your rig too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I have to sweep every single day at least. Yeah, it's crazy.
I did not do the floor. At this point, I'm still not going to, because the stuff I used. If you got it up there, what I've seen people do is take like a big washer and a screw that won't go through the floor and just use washers to hold it up. And I cut all mine really tight. I mean, I had to mine almost bow out because they're tight. But my floor is at least inch and a half, inch and a quarter maybe. So I did not do that. Plus with the insulation, I am probably, it's at least 3/4.
Half inch.
Huh?
You just kept going down in size. I was just waiting.
Well, it's at least, it's made for a car to go onto, so it's fairly thick. Strong. But it's
at least 3/4 inch.
It's at least 3/4, probably 1 inch, with fiberglass on both sides of it also. And it's one piece. I don't know. What I do is throw like a little thin carpet down for a little more insulation there.
He said doo-doo. What he do.
What I do.
The doo-doo sometimes.
Oh man, it's hard this time of year.
Stephen Reynolds, thank you for being a member. That's
Thanks,
right.
Stephen.
And that's an important safety tip. Well, I mean,
what we should do is work together,
Like when
you bring the solar power, I bring the batteries, Chuck brings the radios, Jim brings the antennas. That's the way it should be.
So we do for our soda
my thing
sometimes.
was like when I went to Huntsville, both times that I've been to Huntsville, I'm bringing a radio. I've got a Cartena, either the Artemis or the Apollo or whatever I was using. I don't remember which one. And I got coax. And then what if the coaxes breaks and I need to fix coax?
Yeah.
So then that means crimpers are coming. That means some extra coax is coming. That means connectors are coming.
Right.
Well, geez, I might need to solder a connector. So that means some sort of soldering thing is
coming. I had 2 soldering irons. I got the USB soldering iron. I wasn't sure it was going to be powerful enough. And then I've got the butane one. So yeah, I mean, everything gets packed.
Well, and one thing begets another. And what if we want to put some radios on a spectrum analyzer? I should bring the tiny SA. No, leave that thing at home. Bring the real one. And it just.
And then you need an inverter.
Then I got to have the inverter. I might as well bring the 100 amp hour battery to run the inverter, so we can do all this on the picnic table.
Then you need a solar panel to charge it up. Then you need all the wiring and tooling and associated crimpers for that. Yep.
Right.
It goes on and on and on.
There is a lot of stuff you got to take a lot of times.
And if I was going to something like Quartzite where you're essentially living out in the wilderness for a week or so, oh my Lord.
Because there's not really any way to get anything here quick either. I mean, you can go into town. There's a couple companies that will rent you a mailbox address. But if you don't rent that mailbox address, then you have to pay like $5 to receive a package. Well, packages, Amazon, I looked just to see how fast Amazon could give me one of those bladders because, I'm like always the instant gratification sort of thing. And, Amazon couldn't get it here till Thursday of this coming week. And that was yesterday. So I'm like, well, I'll wait. This 25 gallon that'll handle it because I can have it at home on Monday, you know. And they're not expensive, but the point being is that I would have to go buy a membership at this local mailing place just to receive it, and it's still going to take a week to get here. So there are a lot of vendors here who carry a lot of things that you might need for your RV. I'll tell you that there are a bunch of them in town now.
Yeah. You'd think they would. You would think with Quartzfest they would have a ham radio, some ham radio items. I mean, not a full store, but
only stuff that people are selling used. I mean, there's no. It's not like a normal
vendors.
ham fest.
Yeah,
I think Bemmy has a great comment.
The closest
for field day, everybody brings everything. Everybody forgets something, so in the end, you have one set of at least everything.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I'll end up taking this. This is all my adapters, so.
That's
got to make sure that gets packed.
That rookie kit, son. You carry 4 times that amount of adapters alone.
Yeah.
Why?
Exactly. My kit is the size of a fishing tackle box. I mean, it's got like 6 layers. Yeah, and you've seen Kyle's AA0Z. You've seen his.
Yep.
His is small. His is small compared to the kit I brought. Just because I was running out of time, I said grab it all. You know? So it was,
3 is 2 and 1. 3 is 2, 2 is 1, and 1 is none. So, 3 minimum, right?
So now the other thing I have in my trailer is I have a like a roll around toolbox, top and bottom, and it's mounted against the wall, so it's full. It actually I'm trying to go through it before I leave because it has a lot of stuff. When I bought this trailer and moved over from my other trailer, there was stuff that got just thrown in the toolbox, you know.
Yep.
And it needs to be gone through and get
so
rid
Marvin's
of stuff
got a question
that I don't need.
Vern and I had talked about. When at Quartzfest, is there a company to empty the black and gray tanks? And Vern, you and I talked about this. I don't think there is now. You found
there
it.
There are 3 or 4 of those. I don't know the prices yet. I mean, my black tank is good enough that I shouldn't have to dump while I'm here. I'll just dump before I go back on the road. But there are several of them. I've heard prices anywhere from $20 to $50.
Yeah,
but I can tell you,
50 stands out more.
Yeah,
well, 50. That might be water and black.
I don't know. And the thing is here is that the line yesterday alone, I was over there just dumping trash, you know, because I make some trash. I use unfortunately I use a lot of paper plates because I don't like to do any washing out here because dishes and stuff because water's. But I went over to the trash dump. I just dumped off my first bag of trash, and saw the line. I counted 38 people in line to go to the to the black stations to dump their holding tanks. So, and wow. they had an area that was advertised as just being strictly for blue boys. The little tow behind sewage carts. And I couldn't find it. They were in line with all the rest of the RVs and campers as well. So typically they said that if you just bring in your blue boy, you should be able to go to the dump station. Is like a special lane just for that. But I couldn't see it. Never found that. But so dumping black water is a pain. I would pay $100. I guarantee you. If I had to dump rather than break camp, pull a blue boy up there, I'd be like, here's $100. Come.
Breaking camp is a pain. Especially with all the solar and stuff you got set up outside, yeah.
Our friend Tom, Ham Radio A to Z, brings up a good point that bring your food with you because I bet the grocery store is just how big is Quartzite? I mean, it can't be very. If you got a Walmart or
no, the weirdest Walmart.
No, the last Walmart's for me is like
there's one that sets up in a tent in the desert just for the week. Yeah,
I would bet.
Dollar Generals are like.
Well, I mean, it's like Birmingham, right? I would not be surprised.
It's probably less than 2,000.
Okay.
But there's stores and stuff. There's stores.
Yeah, they're very, very high priced. Everything here has a that I found anyway has a 20% restocking fee if you buy something and want to return it. No matter what you buy, for what it is. Now there are a lot of vendors that are here just for seasonal stuff. That are they set up in basically these pop up. Facilities over here, like in Tyson Wells area, and I don't know what their policies are, but I had to buy a bracket, and the bracket was $20, and if I had to have gotten it home and it would have been the wrong one, I would have lost $4, just to return it. So you got to be prepared for that sort of activity here too. But everything is pretty pricey, but I don't want to sound so negative because this place is awesome. Everybody here is extremely friendly, and they'll do a lot of stuff just to help you. I mean, that like the guy that I bought the bracket from, he was like, have you measured this? Have you measured that? And make sure you got, so it was very, very open about it. But that is a thing here. It's a 20% restocking fee on most of the places I went, the hardware stores and stuff like that.
I can see why they would do that, because I imagine there would be a lot of people taking advantage.
Well, yeah, and I needed to get an ODB2 reader for my truck. I had a check engine light came on. Turns out that it wasn't a big deal, and I reset it. But for whatever reason, I left my ODB2 in the blue tool chest back at Circle 6, and so I had to go buy one. And the guy told me, he goes, we have a lot of people come in here and want us to just go out and read their codes. He goes, well, we don't do that. He says, we'll sell you a reader, but we won't go out and read your codes. This is not AutoZone, and so I had to buy a reader, and the reader I bought was $100, and the same exact model, make, everything, Amazon was $68.
Of course it was.
I got the Quartzite special price right there, but you are where you are, and they got to make a living, and most of those places are only there for the season, it's September through April, and so I don't fault them, and everybody's attitude's 100% of why I buy someplace anyway, usually.
Yep.
So
I wanted to pull this up on the map, and so everybody could get a feel for where this is.
We'll wait. We got time.
I'm just, oh my God, I haven't said like 10 words the whole show. Just hold your water.
Yeah. Some of us prepare to share screens before we talk about sharing screens.
That's hilarious.
I was actually looking at the screen while y'all were talking about holding tanks. So now, Vern, this is Quartzsite, Arizona. Where is the fest at?
Is that 99? What's the road that's going down?
Mile
Straight
marker
down?
99, about 6 miles from
95.
town.
So that cross intersection goes 6 miles south.
Yeah, 6 miles.
Right about.
And I'm at exit number. I'm sorry, I'm at mile marker 101, and kind of made my own trail through the desert. And the Quartzfest for the ham radio guys is over at mile marker 99.
Out here in the great
La
nothing.
Paz. See where it says La Paz Valley?
Yeah.
Right
That's
around
where
there.
it is now.
Okay.
If you zoom in there, it'll tell you it's called the Roadrunner. Does that say Roadrunner there? I can't see it. That's where they're at. I'm up just if you just go just 2 miles north of there, and to your right about there, if you come to the east there, you'll see a power line. I'm pretty close to that power line. There's a little makeshift road that I came in on. It's not the real road, but
so my point was it's pretty. You're out there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
But that's the whole point. That's what makes it fun.
Yeah.
And hey, Liberty Cave says in the chat too, just to go back to that, he's saying about Blythe is about 25 miles away, and they do have a Walmart. Blythe,
that's the last
California.
one. Yeah, that's the last one. Javi's told me, he goes, if you need anything, there's a Walmart just before you get there. You better go there, because there's not much there. I think
interesting.
Yuma probably has something too. But that's
Yuma's pretty big. I went
two.
down to Yuma the other day. Yeah, it's an hour each way.
It's an hour,
I went down there the day I went down to tour the proving grounds, and so it's pretty good size.
There used to be the Yuma
90
Ham Fest the week after Quartzfest.
Correct.
But they're not doing that.
The guy that was running
that
it
one before, right?
was doing everything, so he quit. He wasn't getting help, from what I understand.
We're actually close enough that we can get the weather forecast for the 10 days out. So Sunday the 21st, it's going to be 72, 72, 71. So it's going to be low 70s for the entire week that we're going to be out there.
Nice.
And about 50 at night, 45.
But look at the partly cloudy aspect of it, though, Steve.
Yeah, so not a lot of solar power for you.
Exactly my point.
That's going to be fun. So we'll stay until the batteries run out, and hopefully the batteries don't run out. And then the winds are forecasted to be, 10 mile an hour and below, but that's not really including the gusts. Looks like it's going to be a nice week.
Yeah. Hamtold Hertz has got a great question.
Yeah, I don't do much to that. Maybe that's what I needed to do last year. You ground it, yeah. there was some major noise, and
Yep.
like I said, that guy from the Navy said that it was the motorhomes make it even worse because of the static electricity that they'll radiate also.
Yep. And before you plug your antenna into your radio, connect the center pin to the shield with some piece of metal, or if you're really brave, your tongue, and that'll dissipate the static electricity that's on there.
Mm-hmm.
Short it out.
You got to do that before you hook up to your rig
antenna
experts,
analyzer
right?
too. Yeah. Or your nano VNA, which will be a blown VNA. That's right.
Yeah, for sure. Wind power. I'm not. Yeah, that'd
And
be an
you will.
interesting setup.
I do believe the guys that run the station there at Quartzfest, they're running some power because you will get some pretty strong signals around you. We don't camp right next to that. We try to stay a little ways away from them and then walk over.
How's cell phone service out there, Vern?
Not good.
Horrible. I depends. I mean, I have two services. I have AT&T and Spectrum. I have a phone on each service, and just pick one up. Different. If one didn't work, I pick up the other one. But I've never not been able to get through on my Spectrum, but I've had it drop a couple times. And so AT&T seems to be pretty reliable, but it's like I say, the whole 2 is 1 and 1 is none sort of thing. So I have 2 monthly services on each one. So
I'm
That seems
surprised
to
that they
be
don't
the-
set up portable cell towers for the winter.
yeah, I don't know.
That
You would
seems
think
to be
it'd be
one of the
pretty
things
easy to
that
do.
people do off grid or camping a lot. Live in the RVs is have 2 services, because I know I used to go out with my buddy. I had Verizon and my buddy had AT&T, and it seems like AT&T works on the outskirts better to me, because when I had Verizon, I never had service, and my buddy always had service. But I think it's like one or 2 bars out there with AT&T if you're lucky, and that may not
Yeah,
be 5G.
I've got four bars right now on Spectrum, and I don't know where the other phone is. I think it's in my truck, but it seems to do pretty well though. I mean, it's you can tell when it gets congested. It'll say, "Oh, sorry, it gets busy quite a bit," and so that's just more and more people coming out. Now I have a cell phone booster, but that really doesn't stop the
That won't fix your congestion.
The congestion,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Improves your signal to the tower, but the tower's busy.
Right. And now both my services allow Wi-Fi calling, and believe it or not, Starlink is pretty acceptable for that. It's when I've had to get through, I use it with the Starlink.
Yeah, and you're on your Starlink right now, Vern.
I am. Yeah, I'm streaming on Starlink all the time. Yeah, I just did a speed test right before I came on. I was over 200 megabytes down and 34 up. So it's not bad. I don't know what happened
Jason
to my.
Jason said it worked pretty good out there last year. Sorry, but
yeah, no, it works great. I mean, because I'm still working. I mean, people think I'm retired. It's the way I travel all the time, but I still work, and so like Tio, I have to be at the computer and make a living every day. So I rely on Starlink all the time. We have a Starlink dedicated service, priority service at home, which is like then they have Starlink, and then they have the priority service to give you a faster, and we have that at home, and we have the RV version as well. So.
So Russ is talking about the cell phone service down here in Lordsburg, New Mexico, and it sucks in a very special way. Download speed is 0.6 megabits per second, but upload is 10 megabits per second. I don't get that.
Wow.
So it's unusable for data.
Yeah. And I think Randall's right. I think Spectrum in this area uses Verizon towers. They don't always. Spectrum is a reseller. They don't really have their own system, and so it depends on where you're at. But it's so cheap. I mean, my Spectrum bill is $29 a month, compared to my AT&T bill, which is like $100 a month. Yeah, but it's also because I have Spectrum fiber at our coffee office in Texas, so it was just kind of a couple deal. So we got one phone for free, and the other phone is $29 a month for its service, and it's just a flat. That's it, 100%. But it does go with, Verizon. I think in this area I saw that it was connected to a Verizon tower, And then there's an app you can actually download called Network Info Cell Lite or something like that. And it'll tell you where it's at. So somebody in the chat says Starlink's a huge step up from Houston. I love Starlink. I mean, I really don't have any problem with it.
I had Direct PC, which is the precursor to HughesNet.
Yeah, I used to
dial up
PC.
uplink, modem uplink through your other ISP, and then satellite downlink at a blistering 400 kilobits per second.
Yeah, it was horrible.
Blistering.
I remember. Yeah, for sure.
Somebody asked about T-Mobile. I don't know anybody that had T-Mobile down there, so
yeah, I'll let you know when I get there, but I won't know until I get there.
I was going to say, Steve, you have like one of every provider, don't you, or close to it?
I do, but I can only test the T-Mobile and the one that the router picks as the best one, and the one the router picks as the best one, I think it's picking off of signal strength, RSSI, and not off of data speed. So you might have a high signal strength through the tower, but the tower might have a slow internet connection.
Congestion, or congestion to that tower, yeah. And I'd imagine in Quartzsite, because I can't imagine there's a lot of infrastructure out there, that tower congestion is going to be the issue.
Yeah, I mean,
now Vern hasn't had any internet problems this morning. His stream has been jam up.
No, it looks good.
Well, I have
better than some other YouTubers that we know that travel frequently.
Well, I also have the different service. I have the premium. What do they call it? The priority service for it. So I mean, I pay a little bit more for it than I pay like double really what the normal service is. So that's why.
Yep.
Because what I do for a living, I've got to work.
I'll tell you what. Last year, I ended up going. I'm a 49er fan, and the 49ers have been in like the playoffs every time I've gone to Quartzfest. So I'm trying to watch it. And one year I took my TV antenna and we got it. Last year, it was on a different service than I could pick up. So I watched it off my phone, AT&T, and I streamed it from Amazon TV, and it was pretty good. I was surprised I could do it. And then I have one of those phone boosters also, but mine was for when they went to 5G, it kind of quit working. But like the last day I was out there, it started working. So I don't know if by using it, something changed. And I'm going to test it again if I can find it, anything. I just about threw it away. But like you said, if the service, if everything's, bottlenecked up, it's not going to really help. I hear those things work, but it doesn't always work, right?
Yeah, I have the Wilson Electronics booster. It works great. I mean, I can get five bars within, 100 feet of my camper because the way the whole thing works. You have the inside receptor, and then you have the antenna up top between the amplifier. And it works great. If you're within 100 foot of my camper, you're going to get extra bars, but that's not going to help you in any way for the congestion, and that's the problem. All circuits are busy. Is a pretty common thing here of an evening. And
just for people know, those, if you don't have a signal, they won't give you a signal unless it's like almost there. But usually I get extra 2 bars out of mine. Mine's just the cradle mount, so it's not real handy. If I was streaming off my phone and I don't need my phone to actually hold it, it's handy for that. But I don't know if it actually works. I tried talking to somebody it was a Wilson also. I talked to somebody there. They had less clue than I did about how it worked, so it wasn't much help.
Yeah, I actually got to tour their facility years ago when Renee and I were full timing in our fifth wheel trailer. We went to Cedar. It's in Utah. The name of the city is Cedar or St. George or something like that, and went to actually see their facility. I spoke to a couple of their engineers, and those boys know some stuff. I mean, so you must have just talked to somebody in sales or something.
That wasn't the guy I got. I think it was sales or something.
Yeah.
He couldn't tell me why it wouldn't work. So.
Yeah, I've had all kinds of fun with those boys out there. In fact, I've actually worked on some of the antennas. Had them send me over the years different antennas to test and stuff. So they're good.
And I just have the little. It's like the Sirius radio antenna. It's just a little short antenna, and it's not. You probably got that. I'm sure that would help a lot if I upgraded that. I don't know that I can on mine. That's the only problem.
Yeah, I've got a Yagi so it's very directional, but and they're the ones that turned me onto that Network Cell Info Lite app that lets you actually see the dB loss and reception and transmission and lag time between it and the and the actual cell tower. You can actually use it to direct what antenna. I mean, so which cell tower your phone connects to, and it's a it's pretty neat little app. But yeah, so I have the Yagi version, and then I've got the what is the big internal unit. I don't even know what they have inside the box that they mount on the wall in here in the camper, but. And of course, it has a little amplifier. Probably pretty close to the same amplifier you have, but this one works on 5G as well. So I like it.
Yeah.
It works really well when I'm remote. Doesn't work for flip when you got hundreds of people around you or thousands.
Right.
Steve,
Mine was
did you
more for
have
just
the
your car.
web page for Quartzite pulled up earlier?
I have the
For
Quartzsite
Quartzfest?
events calendar. Yeah, let me.
I
Get
thought
that
you had
started.
like a Quartzfest.
So he had the Messenger, which is the local paper here. It's quartzfest.org, Steve.
Let me pull up quartzfest.org.
Javi sent me something the other day, but I think it might be his own.
There you go. Because somebody in the chat asked what the Douglas did. Doug was asking what the coordinates are, and I was like, "Well, go to Quartzite, Arizona, and start from there."
Yeah, and they do a really weird thing with their website. Everything on their website is like a PDF. So if I go to fax document and I want to do Quartzfest flyer, there it is. It's a PDF. So I got to do that, and then I got to share the other tab.
Saves on programming. No one has to actually.
And to me, like you said, Douglas, the most important thing is what are the coordinates? And it's still not even here. It's where 7 miles south of Quartzsite, Arizona.
Yeah, it's there.
I mean, Vern is a fairly sharp tack, right? He knows what's going on. But I mean, some of us, if I drive out there, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to wander around in the Arizona desert for 3 or 4 weeks until I find other old people, or what?
Yeah, exactly. Other old people. You won't
There's
have
a million people out there.
I can imagine.
Tonight is senior night at the yacht club, Jim. Let's put it that way.
Nice.
Every night is senior night out there.
That's my point. But yeah,
it's like Burning Man for old people.
It really is, man. And the hippies, I mean, they're my jam. They're my people. This is so much fun out here. But the coordinates, I'm pretty sure the coordinates were on their website, but their website is not exactly the best, I guess.
Well,
Tim I actually found them on the map.
Everything
the map I sent you guys.
So the old people can print them out.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you're coming to Quartzfest, we have a simplex frequency that we're going to be talking on, and it is 146.47. Because I can't type right. It was actually going to be 147.47, but I fat-fingered the 6 and the 7. So it's 146.47. So when you get close to the area, tune your 2-meter into 146.47 and start calling, and we should be listening, hopefully, if one of us remembers to turn our 2-meter radio on.
Yeah. Javi's really good. He listens to all that. They have a morning net.
Is either one of y'all going to have All-Star up or Toads Digital? Any of that?
Maybe. I don't know.
Depends on your internet, I guess.
How spry I feel.
Right. All right.
And of course, you can use APRS because there will not be an iGate in the area, so you won't even know that I've sent out my beacon.
There is an iGate in the area.
Oh, awesome! I was just being funny, but
you
know who runs it?
I do not. But the local ham club. In fact, I'm leaving here in the next 15 minutes or so to go to the ham club here, and so I probably find out.
That's cool.
Awesome.
Yeah. And their repeaters have great coverage out here too. So if you look there, Jim, the exact coordinates, if you look.
Well, I don't care. Somebody was asking in the chat. I didn't know if they posted them on the website.
Right. I think they did. Yeah, I'm pretty certain they did. It's very difficult to find anything on their site. But
it is.
Yeah, their site is good in important documents under facts. And you say that there's a Quartzfest. It says getting to Quartzfest using your GPS, and it tells you the coordinates there.
Okay. That's on quartzfest.org. Yeah.
Correct. Okay. And then APRS, anybody wants to come over and park by me, I just beaconed not too long ago. You can find me on APRS pretty easily, and it gives the exact coordinates of where my trailer is. KV5SIX-2.
Really?
If you go to APRS.fr.
Paul Griffith said you can put Quartzfest on Google Maps and it will show up.
It's on the map.
Here's the map that they are showing.
It's come down to the other document, Steve. That's the document you came to. That one. Go back to quartzfest.org and go back to the document that's below that document.
Getting to Quartzfest using your GPS.
There you go. There you go.
So there is the coordinates.
Oh yeah.
And I'm looking in another tab.
This website is like 1985.
Yeah.
See if I can type those coordinates in.
Yeah, you should be able to paste them in the Google, find them.
And look, it's in the desert.
In the middle of nowhere.
And then
look, there's Vern's trailer.
So are those are just really dirt paths? Those aren't even real roads, Vern,
Right.
like you were talking about. Is that the major road there, just below the
some
red
of those
dot?
are roads, yeah. Those
There's
roads
US
are
Route 95.
right, and those roads are just just carved ground. It's there's no pavement to them at all. Hey Steve, I sent you via text. I don't know if you got it or not. I sent you the an aerial view of my camper.
You did, yeah.
I don't know if you're able to save that and share it or not. But
Yeah.
show you it's kind of remote.
I got to do a whole bunch of hysterics. So carry on while I get that transferred over to the computer.
Oh, sorry.
Save it. And then go into Discord and upload it into Discord. Y'all can talk about something else while I bring
Renee's
this up.
right. We need some toad flags to put up so we know where we're at.
Tim named his DigiPeter K Murder to pay homage to
Nice.
to MRD.
That's hilarious. Some toad flags for the RV.
There
My
you
wife is all about some Discord. I never get in Discord.
You're missing out.
I should.
We actually do put up a flag.
I would be missing out on pay if I spent as much time in Discord as she does. I just can't do it. I mean, I love the community, and you know that. But yeah, there's me right there. You can see my camper. That's from the drone.
Right here in the center.
Yep, that's me.
And then look at all these RVs all over the place next to you.
Everywhere.
Just pull off the dirt and park.
Well, you better grab some rocks. You got to grab some rocks too, because you have to mark out your space out here. So I don't know if you can zoom in and you can see the rocks that are right there in front of my truck and behind me.
Yeah.
I've marked out like "keep your ass away from me" sort of thing.
Is that where the Castle Doctrine starts? Right there at the rocks.
Damn Skippy.
Caution tape.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. So
we're in the middle of nowhere, but this is my piece of nowhere, people.
Yes.
Exactly. You see all those rocks that I laid out there? Everybody here does that. And
we
it's
lost
funny.
Jim.
Yeah, the cameras. I don't know what the deal is with this thing.
We
And
do
the
put up
show's
a
pretty
flag
much over
last
anyway,
year,
so it'll be all right.
so we can. It's hard to find your campsite sometimes because everything looks alike out there. There's not a whole lot of terrain change until you hit a mountain.
Yeah.
So
Liberty says those are good gravel roads. You don't need pavement when you get half an inch of rain a year.
Yeah, I would only suggest is that if you're pulling a camper, you got to be careful and go through the washes and the crossings and make sure you can actually clear. Where I came in was, I had to go down and around a couple miles south and then come back up and around to get to my location. But I knew where I wanted to be. I have a friend who's across the way from me, and so you just got to be careful. You can high center and low center, pretty easily come across some of these washes.
So Douglas V is going to ask you a question that's near and dear to your heart, Vern. What is your truck?
That's the only piece of jewelry I own. It's a it's a 2023 F-250 trimmer.
Ford.
Of course, yeah. I used to be an exec at Ford in software development, and so I bleed oval blue. My wife has a King Ranch Raptor combo, and I have the trimmer. And yeah, we don't buy anything but Ford.
I'm on my third or fourth Ford pickup truck.
Yeah.
And Chuck, how many Dodge Rams have you had?
only takes one.
Right? That's because Chuck just likes driving old crap.
That's hilarious. Yeah.
Let's hook
Bluetooth
up.
is the speaker duct taped to the dashboard, so he doesn't
Hey, Jim,
get in trouble.
let's hook bumper to bumper, Jim, and pull and see who can pull who.
You'd
I
be
guarantee you
sad.
can't pull me.
You'd be
I
I
guarantee
sad.
you I
guarantee you
win.
can't.
I guarantee you
No.
I win.
Jim's truck would fall
1100
apart. That's true.
Oh, I guarantee you I'd win that match, Steve, Chuck. But what I always think is funny, Jim, is they say that the Dodge dealers are pulling a Phantom trailer because they always have their white ass mirrors out. So they're pulling
They just sell the best diesel on the market. That's all.
Okay.
They just
I have
got hit with a big
1,135 pounds of torque. I guarantee you I'd win. Bring it on. I got a logging chain. Let's go.
The best Dodge is the 69 Charger Daytona 442. Other than that, who cares?
No such thing.
Any Challenger or Charger from the 60s and early 70s.
And they never made
awesome.
a 442. So
Yeah, they did. Yes, they did.
440.
Hardy's asking about the recall on the F-150. I guess that's a question for both of you Ford boys. There's a bolt that comes loose in the rear end that makes the parking brake not work. Not the emergency brake, put the transmission in park brake, and they just roll away. That's the big recall right now.
I don't know.
I got insurance. I don't care.
Yeah.
Getting something like that done I mean, if it's a safety thing, I might look at it. I've gotten the notice, I think. I don't know. I don't care.
Well, fellas, I need to probably get out of here. I've got a ham club meeting I'm going to go to here in about 40 minutes, and so
awesome.
Have no idea where that's at. I know that the traffic is all going to get kind of goofy here. It's been very busy. Especially the expressway, the I-10 that goes here has just been crazy wall to wall. But the traffic in town has been kind of slow as well, just because of all the people in town, especially for today with the big parade and all the rest of that stuff. So I'm going to get out of here, and I thank you all for inviting me, and can't wait to see you guys when you get here. Jim, you need to get out here, man. Hop a plane. I got
that won't happen.
Bed.
Number
Jim
one, I'm not flying out there. Commercial. Number two, I don't care nearly enough to drive out there.
Jim was in the Air Force. He knows not to fly.
I know not to fly commercial.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I wish you were coming, but I'll bring your bottle to Orlando. You're going to Orlando, aren't you?
Oh yeah, I'll be at Orlando. I'll be at Dayton. I'll be at Huntsville. Absolutely.
Yeah, we're going to all those. Renee's going to advanced freefall class in June, so she won't be at field day, but we're having a big field day event at my house at Circle 6. But we're going to be at all three of those majors and then several other little smaller ones. But we'll see you there. And I got your bottle, a little Old Forester 1920, the same stuff I brought to you a year or two ago.
That'll be awesome. That'll be awesome.
For those of you who don't know, the reason I owe Jim a bottle
away from it now because I've seen him on brown liquor and it's kind of
You have not.
Well, he didn't have his wife to bring him off the show.
That's right.
But
that was not me. That was my roommate that was having a problem with the whiskey, not me.
I was talking about the other night when you were shut off the show.
Oh, I wasn't even close to being drunk, dude.
My wife
can't.
It's accelerated. I keep calling it advanced. It's accelerated free fall. She's going to get her jump school license, basically. So, but anyhow, fellas, I got to run. But thank you all so much, and I look forward to seeing you all. Jim, we'll see you in Orlando, and I got a bottle for you, buddy. All right, take care.
Sounds like a plan.
Right, thanks again.
We're clicking the button. We're all out of here too. Thanks everybody for stopping by. It's been a fantastic show. Happy to have you all here, and we'll see you next Thursday.
All righty.
Hasta la vista, baby.